Okay, so today we're going to do a 17-hour review of the AGT DM20 diesel mini excavator. So you can see the machine here as it sits. I've got the canopy removed so that I can fit it into the garage. I guess that would be one complaint, is that the canopy is not really easily lowerable, other than so you have to take it off and on when you want to have it available. So I've been using it at the beach, pushing crushed zebra mussels and sand, kind of like you would see at Lake Cancun or something, but not quite as white of a material. And also moving a bit of river rock. And so I got out of the 17 hours on the machine, I would say that there's probably under an hour of using the arm on it. So I'd done a little bit of digging where I needed to get close to something and couldn't push it away with the dozer blade. You can kind of see the rocks. So I've been doing bigger rocks than this, but these ones are actually a bit of a nuisance as they get caught in the track system. So what happens is that if you're doing like tight turning, they get shoveled into the tracks, and the idler will get all bunged up or at the back on the drive wheel, and you won't be able to move anymore. It's not strong enough to crush the rocks always. Sometimes you'll see it birth a rock right through the track and it'll go flying out, or it might crush the rock and bust it up, but not always. So you have to use the boom and the stick, swing sideways, lift up the track on the one side, cycle it back and forth, then do the other side. So going straight, you don't run into any trouble, but if you're doing a lot of tight turning, that can be really annoying because you're in the groove and then you got to stop because your track is kind of bunged up. So that's one thing that's probably common with a lot of these, I'm guessing. I couldn't say for sure, but it's something that's happened to me. I did have the one failure with this, like right off the hop, with the track tensioner. On this side here, you can see I've got 2 extra bolts. So there's a plate in there that wasn't welded correctly, and it ended up pushing back and damaging my track tensioner and everything. So I pushed that plate back and had it welded, and then I added a little stiffener just to try to prevent it from pushing back again. And it's been good for probably 17 hours or 15 hours since then, so that's a good win. The cooling package is really good on this, no problem with the hydraulic temperature. And I never even look at it, and the engine oil sits at 75 degrees Celsius, so it's well under the boiling temperature. Haven't really had any change in level. It's just at the bottom of the neck, so it's not really going back and forth between the expansion tank, but it's fine. The belt, I haven't had to tension it. I had one person reach out to me and tell me to keep some spare engine mount bolts, so I'm going to have to measure those up and see what they are. They're saying when they're digging in hard rock that they can break these bolts off, so that's something you wouldn't want to get stuck for a weekend not being able to use your machine because you broke the engine mount. So either change them when they break or maybe in advance. The oil has been fine. There hasn't been any consumption, and it's not getting dirty. That's with the 17 hours on the 5W40 synthetic that I put in it. No issues with the filters picking anything up for the fuel system. I do have new oil filter. I'll probably change it now that I've got some time on the machine. And this rubber exhaust pipe thing is holding together. I was kind of suspicious about that when I first saw it, but it's doing its thing. I just leave the seat loose. I don't put the wing nuts in here. I do have the seat belt hooked in here into the frame of the seat, and that's pretty much, you're going to need that if you're going to take this thing onto a job site, because once someone sees this thing, they're going to want to inspect it. So it is kind of mandatory. It's only like 20 bucks. Yeah, so there hasn't been any leaks. The exhaust is being okay. No problem here. One thing is that I don't know if you can see it or not, but where the hydraulic pump mates, there's a bit of black around it, so it's kind of like dusting from rubbing back and forth or something. So I do want to tighten the face of that pump, make sure that it's good. If anybody has a wiring diagram for one of these machines, I would love to see it. I think that I converted that to English and it says like cylinder extension, like possibly like you could get one of these with an extendable boom, but I've not seen that for sure. The paint is holding up, but it's only been outside for a month, so there's not much to say about that. It would be nice if I had the color code for the gray and the blue. If you can see this or not. So it's got 16.8 hours on it, and the voltage, it's just got that tiny little charger, and it takes care of keeping the battery charged. And temperature goes up to about 75 when you're running it, and that's about it. I don't know why it's got two battery things on it. Maybe one's overcharged. Yeah, maybe this is like good on this side and bad on that side. I don't know. Doesn't come with a manual. So for the hydraulic oil, I found that I need to keep it like right at the top almost, just so it's visible so you can tell if you're losing any. Because what happens is if you're on a severe angle, it'll slosh around and you're going to start like jiggling because you're not getting oil to the pump, and that's a bit of a problem. I do have a little bit of oil on the track. It seems like it's leaking out of right here, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. That's unfortunate. Then for the diesel, I just fill it pretty much to the top, and I've burned 2 of these. Well, I've put in two jerry cans. So for one, it came empty, so that's most of a jerry can just to fill it up. And then now that thing is just about empty at 17 hours. It would be nice if the blade would come up a little bit higher, because if you're going downhill and you're trying to recover, you can start plowing and there's nothing you can do about it. So you might, depending on what you're doing, if you go downhill backward, you'll probably end up just getting hung up on your blade on the backside anyway. So there's no good solution because the thing is so long that it would be nice if it came up a little bit higher. And I'm thinking about putting just welding a nut onto here so I can put a trailer hitch. That way you could take like a landscaping buggy or something with you if you're hauling trash. I'm also looking at getting like a 1 cubic meter tote that I can carry trash in this so I can move it around. But I think a buggy might be better, like a flatbed or something. The tracks have been okay. In some models, you'll see that the cogs stick out way far and they hit the ground, which would be a problem because if you're damaging people's stonework, they're not going to like that. But with this one, it's not a big deal. And the way the track sits, it's sort of, because it's got the extendable suspension on her undercarriage, it's going to wear out the inside of the track more than the outside. And as you can see, of course, the motors are not protected at all, but at least they don't have reduction drives in them, so that's kind of a good thing. But if we go with wider tracks, like I think these are 7-inch, and I was thinking about getting 9-inch. If I come into trouble with these tracks, they'll stick out as far as the hydraulic hoses, so I'll need to do a little bit of manipulating there to protect them. But I'm happy with the machine. It does everything it needs to do. Like I said, I've been mostly bulldozing with it. With the stick out all the way, you probably couldn't crack an egg. The thing is so weak. But when it's up close, it's got quite a bit of strength. So keep that in mind, that definitely the closer it is to you, the better you're going to be able to get work out of it. So I guess we'll go take a look at the work I've been doing with it. Like actually quickly, the grease fittings. So I did add a bunch of grease fittings to it. So I added 1, 2, 3 to the thumb, and then I added 2 more for the stick because there was nothing for that pin whatsoever. So I had to drive the bushings out, line them up, and thread in some new grease fittings for that. It's been taking grease everywhere, no problem. You do need to have the stick in a funny position to get the bottom. There's like one right at the very end of the stick that's kind of hard to get to. And you can't have a big fitting on the end of your grease gun, like this one here with the connector on it is no good. You need ones with without any coverage or shrouds on them, because they need to fit in. There's some little pieces of pipe you got to reach into to grease the machine. Yeah, so I'm quite happy with the machine. It does everything it needs to do. You can run the machine easily with one hand, and then you got to have your other hand down here to move the dozer blade. And yeah, you can push full blast and then kind of slowly adjust the grater blade. There's not much hydraulic flow left for it, but you can, it's actually good because you're not all jerky. It's just a nice gradual change. You can do 2 operations at a time with the boom and the stick, and it works nice. You do not need any weird cushioning valves or springs to put underneath of your controls or anything. It just works the way it is, probably because you're limited in RPM. Like this is only 2,400 RPM, whereas a gas motor is like 3,600. So you're losing out a bunch on flow that at times would probably be nice, but most of the time you probably don't want that flow. I have not checked the pressure yet. I am kind of thinking that I don't know if the pressure is set on this or not, but I feel like it could use a little bit more pressure. But I haven't blown any seals out either, so it's a double-edged sword. I did take all the stickers off of it. I'm not a fan of the arrows on it, and I just took them all off because I just didn't feel like there was a need for anyone to know what this thing is. It does its job, and I'm not advertising for anybody. And the stickers weren't all that good of quality either. So for going around yards, I've got these 4x6 blocks. You put 2 at the edge, and then you put the third one out wherever you need to put your bucket so that you can lift yourself up to get on. This step's not too high, but there's another step where I crashed into it with the dozer blade. So I said it would be better if the dozer blade was a little bit more maneuverable than it is, but it's not. So you'd have to make some modifications if you really needed anything better. I'm just using a piece of smart side paneling for a ground protection mat. I did punch a bit of a hole in it right there, but it's inexpensive and is light. So, well, it's probably costs more money than plywood, but it's light. You can move it around. So you put it in the grass if you want to make a turn. And so it's better than 3/4 inch plywood. And it's significantly cheaper than getting the plastic ground protection mats. Like if you need swamp mats, then you need swamp mats. But if you don't, then this is good enough in my mind. And you can just carry it around. You can cut it into some squares. So yeah, we'll take a look at where we've been working. So I just pull in my tracks when I'm coming through here. This step here is a little bit tougher. It's probably like 6 inches tall, and I can't lift my blade up high enough. So you do need to use the stick to maneuver through here. The ground is pretty damp right now, being spring. So I did leave some tracks here where I was kind of maneuvering. So that's, I'm gonna hear about that as soon as it gets spotted. But I was able to come from the water. I didn't need to leapfrog my mat, which is nice, because that'd be a real pain if I had to get off every 4 feet to move it. So the beach here is sort of being neglected for a while. I don't know, I've been here for 4 years, and this is the first time I've gotten serious about grooming it. So essentially, what happened here was, you can see that step there, so the material was up about 2 feet, and we just used the dozer blade, push down, and push it towards the water. You can see the other side of that little gully is sort of what it looked like before, but not quite as untidy. I'm going to talk to them and see if they are interested in me helping them out. with that. It's not paying work, it's just trying to manage things. So I found a railway tie underneath of the ground, so I lifted that out. And yeah, so it's definitely can lift up rocks that a human couldn't lift. Not a normal human anyway. And we went across the front of 4 properties, and I was able to move that catamaran and drag it around. Debatable whether it's easier just to have 2 people move it. So these rocks can be a bit of a nightmare. When you get enough of them stuck up in your tracks, you get all bunged up. So you can kind of see the elevation change. This is all going to get messed up this first time we get a big storm. But it kind of needed to be done because it got rid of a lot of the vegetation that was kind of growing. And yeah, it pretty much took me the 17 hours to learn how to use the machine and to do it. Then my neighbor bought a little rake that you can put behind his lawnmower, and he was pulling it around, and that really finished off the job, because like trying to do the finish grading with the machine, you can get pretty close, then you can either spend a day raking, or he just dragged around that little rake contraption, just a bunch of like bed mattress frame. And kind of tidied up the land. So you can see he hasn't been over here yet. So once he does that, it's going to be nice and flat for a while anyway. We'll see. And then over here, kind of had to pull back, like the water is pushing up the zebra mussels and junk, and it was going over this garden, so we pulled it back down and reset the time for a while. Just my strap. Need to get that. If you're going to get these Muskoka chairs, get the heavy ones made out of recycled plastic. If you get ones made out of wood, they'll just blow across your yard whenever it gets windy. So it's not really going to work out long term. So anyway, that's what we did with the machine. This is why we bought it. We'll do this a couple times a year. So eventually it'll pay for itself versus renting machines or hiring out the work. And I'm going to be doing a bit of irrigation down here. I wanted to put the machine away because it was down at the water here for about a month. I got to dig from at this column here over to the railway tie, just bury this irrigation line and do another electrical line. And yeah, it'll be good. When in the fall the water goes way down, we might be able to venture out and bury some of these rocks that are kind of poking up, if there's any interest in that. There's an engine block in the water that someone was using as an anchor, so I'm going to go grab that and take it away because no one's using it anymore. And yeah, so anyway, hopefully you're encouraged. You think about buying one of these machines. I'm happy with it. I was a little bit worried about maybe problems with the drive motors or something, but no issues whatsoever. So hopefully you found that useful. Thanks for watching.